little bit about this tech deal. I've seen the figure of £150 billion worth of investment attached to it. Can you just take it apart a little bit and tell us what it all involves?
Well, I can try. I mean, the thing with these investment deals is Trump loves a big press release. He loves a big number from a press release, but it's very difficult to know how many of these deals, first of all, were in the pipeline already and were already planned investments by these companies. And it's difficult to know which ones will actually pan out. We've seen in our country, we've seen a history of Trump, announcing new deals, announcing new factories, saying they're going to come into service, and then it never really materializes. So as with the kind of other announcements that we've seen, these trade deals where he announces we're going to have $550 billion from Japan, $350 billion from Korea. The devil's in the details, and the details are not worked out yet. So, well, I'm sure there is going to be some sort of, tech investment between the US and the UK. There probably was going to be a certain level of investment anyway. These companies, of course, are moving toward AI, already have big footprints in both countries. So count me as a little skeptical that this is the biggest deal in history.
Right. It is often the way, isn't it, when leaders get together and announce a big investment deal, a trade agreement on whatever level, a lot of it is stuff which would have happened anyway. They're putting their imprimatur on the whole thing. But we did have the head of NVIDIA, huge company, telling us that he sees Starmer's vision, Gavin, of the UK as an AI superpower, as an attainable one. What's your view on that? And tell me, in strategic terms, how does that match with the Trump administration's view?
Well, I think the CEO of NVIDIA is a very able diplomat as well as a businessman. Well, let's just put it that way. I think the question is going to hinge on the availability of energy. And I think for AI, for all of these data centers that, of course, are extremely power hungry in electricity terms. And I think that's why you see the memorandum have some details in there about civil nuclear power. We're working on these small modular reactors that they think could be housed at these data centers or near them and power them with clean electricity. I think that's going to really be the hinge point for a country like the UK where, electricity tariffs are already pretty high, and you're going to need a lot more electricity if you're going to be an AI superpower. So that's really kind of the important point for me there.
Okay, and Gavin, on the question of British steel and aluminium, is the effort, the mission on the part of the British side to get those steel and aluminium tariffs down below the level of, 25%? Is that a lost cause?
I don't think it's a lost cause, but it's certainly stalled right now. And I think that while we have seen a lot of important announcements this week, we didn't see the most important one, which would have been an announcement saying that we were going to reduce the tariffs on UK steel and aluminum from 25% to zero. Obviously, the sides have not gotten there yet. There are some disagreements I'm hearing from some US sources about what's called a melt and pour standard. Basically, if something is coming in, if a metal is coming in, a metal product is coming in from the UK, the US wants a standard that says that it was melted and poured, basically made into a product in the UK and not somewhere else. That apparently has been a sticking point with the Starmer government. They haven't worked that out yet. And then there are concerns in the US because although the UK is on a 25% tariff right now, the other steel and aluminum tariffs are at 50%. And so you see some US companies saying that we've already seen an influx of imports from the UK. And of course, big steel producers in the US don't like that. So there's a lot more work to be done here. And I think it's a pretty big disappointment on the UK's part that they were not able to secure a deal for lower tariffs coming out of this meeting.
Okay, just a really brief one if I could, Gavin. Again, thank you for joining me. We just heard the president saying he didn't know who Peter Mandelson, well, he knew who he was, but he didn't know him. I mean, the gains to Britain from the latest trade deal, how much of that is attributable to Peter Mandelson?
I can't say though. I can't say a lot of it. I think that he did play host to a lot of people at the British Embassy. I think this was a lot of first mover advantage from the Starmer government because they got right in there and started to engage with the Trump administration. I haven't heard about Mandelson having a really central role there. I think a lot of this was done by the economic staff. You'd probably credit Rachel Reeves more than Mandelson in my book. But of course, that is I think Trump did know who he was and probably had met him before. I don't know how big of a role he played in those negotiations, however.
Okay, Gavin Bade of the Wall Street Journal. Great to talk to you, but Gavin, thank you. Now,
Always.
it's great to have you with us with your expertise.
Mr. President, it's a pleasure to welcome you to Chequers. This historic second state visit is a moment to celebrate the unique bond between our two countries. We've just come from a fantastic meeting with business leaders where we set out this vision. So this partnership today is a signal of our determination to win this race together and to ensure it brings real benefits in jobs, in growth, in lower bills, to put more hard-earned cash in people's pockets at the end of each month. That's what we're determined to deliver.
And we're grateful beyond words for the spectacular honor of the state visit yesterday at Windsor Castle, hosted by His Majesty King Charles III and Her Majesty Queen Camilla. These are two fantastic people. They did $250 billion. They didn't do $1 trillion for. We're forever joined, and we are forever friends, and we will always be friends. This enduring connection is why I was thrilled that the United Kingdom was the very first country with which we made a historic trade deal, and a very good trade deal. He's a tough negotiator. I think it was a better deal for you than us, but these are minor details.
It's a very good deal for both of us.
He's a great negotiator.
More optimistic than ever and more confident than ever.
Just last week, a great American, Charlie Kirk, was heinously assassinated for speaking his mind. He was a great young man, incredible future. Some people said he might be president someday. I told him, I said, Charlie, I think you have a good shot someday at being president. Summit this year, we've worked together very closely in so many ways. As we saw in the unforgettable parade yesterday at Windsor Castle, what a place it is. The British Armed Forces carry on one of the finest military traditions in the world, one of the greatest marching bands, one of the most magnificent sights I've seen. And I just want to thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, for the great job I think you're doing. Thank you very much. Thank you.